It comes as no surprise that crossovers are now outselling sedans in today's automotive world. After all, they're similarly priced, have much more utility, and are reasonably fuel efficient. Toyota is certainly aware of this, but knew they couldn't give up on the best-selling car in America. For 2018, the Toyota Camry gets completely revamped from top to bottom, looking to make the vehicle much more distinct among other midsizers, while keeping familiar attributes of reliability and comfort that many people have come to know and love over the decades. This generation looks to substantially improve on feature content, power, and most important of all for the Camry, style. So let's go ahead and check out and take a closer look at this all-new redesigned 2018 Toyota Camry. Starting off, this is a completely new Camry here. From its athletic and sharp new lines, a revised suspension tuned for sharper handling, and more powerful engine choices, the Camry is evidently taking an aim at appealing to the younger crowd in an effort of eliminating the boring stigma of this vehicle. Just by looking at the new Camry, you could tell that it's much lower, longer, and wider than before, with its length measuring at 192.1 inches and width at 72.4 inches, being one of the larger vehicles in the mid-size sedan segment. Toyota's Safety Sense comes as standard equipment, which includes a plethora of safety features such as adaptive cruise control, automatic high beams, and automatic emergency braking. Our trim of the Camry we also have here is the mid-trim level. It's the SE trim, which is supposed to be the sporty trim for this vehicle. And you do get some nice amenities such as 18-inch alloy wheels, which aren't bad looking. And you also do get the sport mesh front grille, and then you can also go for the XSE trim level, which certainly adds in more luxury features and more amenities for this vehicle. But not a bad looking car, and I especially love the new LED headlights, which comes as standard equipment. Here goes your key fob for the vehicle. You have a switchblade key, which includes your lock, and your unlock is right here. And then you also do have your button to release your trunk, and then your panic alarm. This exterior color of the Camry is known as the Super White. And this is known as the Ash interior color. And you have synthetic leather on the sides and then also cloth in the middle. Toyota does a pretty good job at imitating real leather. You have an 8-way power adjustable driver's seat with your power recline, as well as your power lumbar. Alright, now stepping on inside of the new Camry here, as you could tell, this is a much more intriguing design over its predecessor. And it's just much more modern looking, and I especially love the stitching that goes over the glove box. But definitely a huge improvement. You can't get push button ignition on higher end trim levels. And what you're hearing there is Toyota's very familiar 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. You have a 3-spoke leather wrap steering wheel. Coming to your transmission, we have a brand new transmission here. It's an 8-speed automatic, which does provide better fuel efficiency for this vehicle. You also do have manual shiftability and paddle shifters. You can shift the vehicle manually via that way. When you put the vehicle into reverse, this will display your rear view camera, of course, with guidance lines, and you can also get rear cross traffic alert. Let's go ahead and turn on the headlights and the hazards. Let's go ahead and check out the exterior of the Camry. All windows are fully automatic. Pop up the hood and check out the engine. Heated exterior mirrors, and you can also opt for blind spot detection. These little fins right here are also used for aerodynamics for the vehicle, which Toyota has been using since the last generation Camry. For a vehicle that sells over 300,000 units per year, and in order to keep sales afloat, Toyota knew that they had to keep their traditional customers while still improving the vehicle. Up front here, you'll find buy LED combination headlights, which these projectors are used for the main headlights and then also for LED daytime running lights. It's still good to know that Toyota is still using naturally aspirated engines when many other vehicles in today's automotive market are going towards turbochargers. But under the hood here, you'll find your base engine, which is a 2.5 liter four-cylinder. It's been revised with more power and increased fuel efficiency. You're looking at 203 horsepower at 6,600 RPM and 184 pound-feet of torque at 5,000 RPM, with EPA estimates being a pretty healthy 28 in the city and 39 on the highway. And your 8-speed automatic is your only transmission with this engine here. Now you can also go for a much more powerful traditional 3.5 liter V6, no 2 liter turbocharger here like how many other mid-size sedans are going with. But the 3.5 liter V6 is actually very potent, producing over 300 horsepower. Then you can also go for a hybrid powertrain for this vehicle if you're looking for better fuel efficiency. And that is paired with a CVT automatic transmission, unsurprisingly. But this 2.5 liter four-cylinder, you'll find it to be pretty peppy around town, especially when making passing maneuvers on the highway. And the fuel efficiency is actually near the top of the class. And it is front-wheel drive, no all-wheel drive on this vehicle. If you are looking for all-wheel drive, I suggest checking out the Subaru Legacy, of course. Pricing and trims of the Camry start at the base L trim, which starts at around $23,700. Then you can go up to the LE, which starts at $24,000. Then the SE, which is what we have here, $25,200. XLE, $28,450, and the XSE, $29,000. Of course, you can also go with the V6 engine, or you can also go with the hybrid powertrain for the Camry. Competitors for this vehicle, you're looking at vehicles in the mid-size sedan class, of course. This includes the likes of the Subaru Legacy, Honda Accord, as well as the Chevrolet Malibu, Nissan Altima, and the Volkswagen Passat, as well as the Mazda 6. Total vehicle price for our particular model, $26,339. EPA estimates, like I said, you're looking at 28 in the city, 39 on the highway, with 32 combined. And the final assembly point is actually in Japan and not in America. If you also go for the higher end XSE trim, you can also get quad exhaust tips on the Camry. And LED taillights are also optional for this vehicle. Of course, all of your basic power amenities, including power windows, door locks, and your mirrors. Due to the sleek styling of the Camry, the visibility isn't as great as its predecessor, but on the front windows it's okay. You'll find a decent amount of glass area, and the A-pillars are still pretty narrow. But when you get to rearward visibility, it's a little bit worse this time around. But the window base is probably my biggest complaint, as it's mounted pretty high up, and it's hard to see out of the rear sometimes if you're looking back there. But a rear view camera does come as standard equipment. Your automatic climate control, you have your temperatures, as well as your fan speed levels and your different zones. Pretty basic stuff here. Finally, we see Toyota's revised Entune system. This is the Entune 3.0. It's a 7-inch touchscreen. Of course, you can go for a much larger head unit, but this is our base head unit here. And we do have 6 speakers around the cabin as well. And the first thing that you'll notice is the new white background. And it does look much more crisp and clear too, which I do love. But the layout is still very familiar Entune stuff here. Not much has changed with the layout. You still have your home screen, which you can configure this however you would like with your audio sources or your vehicle information, like your range, and then also your phone too. And if you come to menu right here, you can access many different menus, such as your audio. You can change the audio source from AM, FM, USB port with iPod integration, Bluetooth streaming audio, auxiliary input, and you can reorder this if you would like. We also do have your presets, And then your sound settings like the treble, mid, bass, and your fader and balance. Go to info here. This will give you information about your fuel consumption, give you a little bar graph, and then over here you have your average speed, your fuel range, elapsed time after start. But the response is so much better on the new Entune 3.0. And then we also do have Seek and Track phone. You can hook up your Bluetooth phone and have all of your contacts stored on here, of course, and pair up to multiple Bluetooth devices. Then we have apps for your Entune app suite. You can access many different apps when you hook up your smartphone onto the system, such as movies and tickets. And then let's go ahead and test out the voice recognition.
Before you start, consider viewing the available video tutorials or voice training functionality. Select the Do Not Tell Me Again.
Tune to 101.1 FM.
Tuning to 101.1 FM.
Does pick up your voice quite well. And you'll notice that even the sound of the voice is different this time around. Getting to the gauges in the instrument cluster, analog setup here with a driver information display in the center. It's a 4.2-inch screen. And on the left you have your tach with your coolant temperature, and on the right, fuel gauge as well as your speedometer. In the center, this will display various amounts of vehicle information such as your exterior temperature readout, average fuel economy, and it'll also show you what safety technologies are turned off or on, any warning messages for the vehicle, and then you have your lane departure warning, pre-collision system, vehicle settings that you could change here. You can view your scheduled maintenance. You can turn the eco indicator on or off if you like. You have your drive info units, language, pop-up display. You could turn the brightness on or off. In your default settings, you can go back to factory settings if you would like. But it's really easy to operate just by the buttons on the steering wheel here. Overall, I do love this setup. Very simple. And over here we do have your automatic high beams, traction control off, your trunk release, and your fuel cap release. And then you have a little coin box too, which is always nifty. Seating comfort in the Camry is also pretty good. The seats are really comfortable. They're not as firm as what you'll find in its predecessor, and the thigh support is pretty good. Not a whole lot of side bolstering, but I would say that these seats are pretty good for long road trips. With so many other mid-size sedans having a more posed and composed nature for driving dynamics in recent years, Toyota finally decided to take a risk with the new Camry here. And you'll find that the vehicle is actually much more fun to drive directly due to the fact that this vehicle is now built on the new modular architecture and uses a double wishbone suspension that we saw in the new Prius and replaces the rear struts that Toyota was using for many years on the Camry. It is certainly much more engaging, and the 8-speed automatic does a phenomenal job at providing smooth, quick, and seamless shifts. While this is no longer the cushy riding vehicle that you would find from previous years, the new Camry is much more engaging to drive, of course, and simultaneously still provides a well-rounded, comfortable nature that older folks will still appreciate, with improved wind and road noise that hardly makes its way through the cabin, and a ride that will still be comfortable enough for long-hauling road trips. Ultimately, the new Camry has been significantly improved with overall driving dynamics and is now on par with the rest of the class. Sitting back here in the Camry, you'll notice that the interior quality does follow through in the rear. Still have a soft touch armrest, but the mid-door panel and upper door panel are a little harder to the touch. And you'll find that there's an ample amount of legroom back here, as well as headroom too. I mean, I just have lots of room to just stretch out. Very comfortable, especially for a family of 5. You have dual cup holders, and then also dual map pockets, as well as a little rear storage cubby. You can also get rear air vents back here if you go for higher end trims like XLE and the XSE versions. Then you can also get a full-on panoramic moonroof. What I am disappointed about, though, is that there's still no rear adjustable headrest. Plenty of trunk space back here, and the rear seats do fold down 60-40 split by pulling on these levers. So with its many more standard features, its increased fuel efficiency and power, and sharp redesigned style, the 2018 Toyota Camry should remain a top seller in the mid-size sedan class. So remember that this is Cameron Birch from Cameron's Car Reviews.